Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our April 28th, 2021 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor. I'm very pleased to have you watching us tonight. Again, obviously you're here knowing that we are conducting this meeting again remotely on Zoom. We're also broadcasting live on Spectrum Cable Channel 1303 in Brighton, and live streaming tonight's meeting as well on the Town of Brighton YouTube channel, all in compliance with Governor Cuomo's executive order modifying some of the provisions of the state open meetings law to allow local government bodies like this town board to continue to meet remotely in a way that is open and accessible to the public. Every meeting we do that in part by starting with an open forum. We will get to that in a moment, but when the open forum begins, I'll let you know. If you would like to address the board during the open forum, please go to the Town of Brighton website, select live streaming, and click on the Zoom link. When you join the Zoom meeting, you'll be placed in a waiting room until you're invited into the meeting, and you'll have a chance to make your comment or ask your question.
Could you turn on the light in here for me, please?
As always, you'll be able to call in, and our phone number is 303-3060. That's 303-3060. Someone will answer the phone, take your question or message, and pass it along to me. Part of making our meetings accessible is making them accessible to our deaf and hard of hearing community. And our two ASL interpreters, Heather and Allie, are with us tonight as always. Thank you both. We really appreciate the work that you do. Just as a reminder, the agenda for tonight's town board meeting, as well as all the materials that we have that we're looking at in making the decisions we'll be making tonight, are all available on the Town of Brighton webpage at www.townofbrighton.org. We will start the meeting with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We continue to see the impact that vaccines are having in slowing the spread of COVID. The number of cases in the area rose significantly following the Easter and Passover holidays. Interestingly, those increases were largely centered on younger people, under 50 in particular, who were not eligible for the most part to be vaccinated as early as others who were older. And the rates got quite high for folks in those age ranges. But now that everyone 16 and over can receive the vaccine, the numbers have begun to fall again significantly here in Monroe County and across the state for people of all ages. And that's very, very good news. Both the Monroe County and the New York State vaccination locations, including the Dome in Henrietta and the Convention Center in downtown Rochester, all of them now are available for walk-ups. One of the barriers we know has been out there is the challenge early on of making those vaccine appointments, particularly for people who didn't have broadband or any internet access at all. But now they can be done on a walk-up basis. And if it's a 2-shot vaccine, you will leave with your second appointment. I can't say it enough. Vaccines work and they're safe. And I strongly encourage everyone who is eligible for their vaccine to sign up right away, or again, to simply walk in to any of the available sites as soon as possible. Now, as we've been seeing the last couple days, New York continues to lift some of the restrictions, particularly for people who have been vaccinated. And the new Center for Disease Control, CDC, guidelines now recognize that for the most part, and really other than in large crowds and some other very limited circumstances, people who have completed their vaccinations generally no longer need to mask outdoors. Remember though, you're not doing it just for yourself. Getting vaccinated does help return your life to normal. But just as importantly, it helps return your family's lives to normal, your neighbors' lives to normal, your community's life to normal. Rapid COVID testing is still available at Temple Brith Kodesh on Tuesday afternoons from noon until 3. Each week you can sign up for that starting Friday at noon for that next succeeding Tuesday appointment. And those signups are available at monroecounty.gov. And you also have at monroecounty.gov links to those vaccine sites. Lawn and garden debris pickup is well underway at this point. Mike, I don't think I had a chance to tell you this, but over the last day or two, our highway crews have gotten some very, very nice compliments on social media. Particularly, I saw a couple of real nice mentions in the Evans Farm neighborhood group. Thank you to everybody that sends along those regards. The men and women in our highway department work very hard throughout the year. Certainly lawn and garden debris is one of those times when they really put their back into their work. Just some reminders, whenever you can, particularly if you have small quantities of debris, please containerize them. You can containerize them in refuse cans, garbage cans. You can also containerize them in those big brown paper bags. If you containerize, they'll get picked up quicker. They're less likely to blow around the neighborhood, and they're less likely to just sort of make the neighborhood a mess. We recognize, of course, that for larger volumes, it's probably not practical to put everything in a container. So if you need to leave it bulk, you can do that as well. Again, remember, please don't leave bulk debris in the street. Pile them in the tree lawn between your sidewalk and the street, or if you don't have a sidewalk, leave them on the grass right up next to the street. Remember, don't pile your debris in the street, please. A reminder too, grass clippings will not be picked up. We can't pick up grass clippings. Leave them on your lawn. Let them fertilize your lawn. Your lawn will grow better if you do. Just one more thing. I want to thank everybody involved in a great presentation last night by Michael Boucher, Shane Wiegand, who has done extraordinary work in examining the history of redlining and other racist historic impacts on here in Brighton. It was a great presentation. We also had members of CORD from the Meadowbrook neighborhood who talked about what they have done to remove old, hateful, racist real estate restrictive covenants from their deed. And we had a very good talk about what some next steps can be. What are next steps that we as a community, we as individuals, we as neighborhood associations can take to continue to move Brighton to be an anti-racist community. Our idea board has been an important part of that work. Councilmember Wilt is the town board liaison to the idea board, idea, inclusion, diversity, and equity advisory board. So I want to thank everybody who was a part of that last night. Okay. Next is the fun part, because we do have a couple of proclamations tonight. And this first one I mentioned a moment ago. Arbor Day is coming up on April 30th, this Friday. Arbor Day is always the last Friday in April. But the town of Brighton has now been a Tree City USA as recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation for 19 years. One of the reasons we are recognized as a Tree City USA is because of the work we do to protect and enhance our tree canopy. And over the past few weeks, a number of groups have really engaged in that work. I'm going to read this proclamation and then talk a little bit more about the work that those groups have done. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton of the Nebraska Board of Architecture launched the first Arbor Day and added more than 1 million trees to the prairie landscape. And whereas this tradition has spread across the nation and the world, underscoring the importance of trees in our ecosystem and inspiring people to plant and care for trees in the midst of a deforestation crisis in many parts of the world. And whereas trees contribute significantly to reducing carbon levels and soil erosion, filtering water for cleaner streams and rivers, providing habitat for wildlife, producing oxygen, and providing a renewable resource for paper, fuel, and other wood products. And whereas the town of Brighton furthers the ideals of Arbor Day by supporting our Tree Council and the Conservation Board in the thoughtful management of our trees, with emphasis on landscaping with native plants. And whereas this evening, we honor the contributions of Conservation Board member George Smith in the Urban Forestry Group, Brighton Rotarian Tony Conti and the Brighton Rotary Club, and Girl Scout Cadet Troops 60447, 60064, and Junior Girl Scout Troop 60171 for their dedication to environmental conservation and for planting trees and shrubs. And in the case of Cadet Troop 60447, last year, removing many truckloads of invasive plant species in Brighton parks, all in celebration of Arbor Day. Whereas in Brighton, we are deeply committed to the value of Arbor Day and its eco-friendly mission to increase the tree population, knowing that urban trees increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, decrease heating and cooling costs, and beautify our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, acting on behalf of the members of the Brighton Town Council, do hereby declare April 30, 2021 as Arbor Day in the town of Brighton and ask our residents to plant a tree for a healthier and cleaner tomorrow. Follow the example of those Girl Scouts and plant a tree. Here is a copy of that proclamation so that everybody can see it. Now, I'm very, very pleased that Cadet Troop 60447 actually happen to be holding their troop meeting tonight. So they're with us in the Zoom watching. Thank you, leaders, parents, and especially to the girls for the work you did, not just a week ago Sunday, but all last year, pulling those invasives. The work you did was fantastic. Ella Harvey, I know you're part of that troop. I know Anna Day, Zoe Cardella, Jackie Darrow. Not all of them are here in the meeting, but the work you did was great. The work that all three of those troops did a week ago Sunday, planting those trees. If you've been out on the Brickyard Trail, you'll see them. George Smith and Brighton Rotary Club, especially Tony Conti. Tony, thank you so much. Have been out in Buckland Park planting trees. Over 200 trees, when they're finished, will be planted. They're going out one more time this coming Saturday to finish their work. But George is a teacher at the high school. Many of you know him, teaches environmental studies, has been a great advocate for our parks. In fact, came up with the idea that we embraced for adding a new grass trail loop to our park system in the Buckland Park. Tony, the financial support you gave in Brighton Rotary and the Brighton Rotary Service Foundation, again, together. That was my message to the girls when I was out there a week ago Sunday talking to them. You know, it's great. They're planting trees. It's wonderful. But they were having fun. And I think what the other thing they were learning is how much you can accomplish working together. And if there's one message we can take away from Arbor Day, from these tree plantings, from so many things that have gone on during this past difficult year, is that working together, learning, working, smiling, having fun, those smiles under the masks, we can get more done on a small scale and on a global scale than we ever thought possible. So thank you, Scouts. Thank you, everybody. Happy Arbor Day. And I'm very pleased to be able to give this proclamation. It is wonderful to have you watching tonight. We have one more proclamation, and this is another favorite proclamation. Town clerks are sometimes the forgotten men and women of local government. Isn't that right, Dan? I'm as bad as anybody in sometimes forgetting to give credit to Dan Amon and to town clerks, municipal clerks in general. If there's a question that needs answering, chances are Dan has the answer. Whatever it's about, whether it's about COVID, whether it's about trees, whether it's about dogs, licenses, whatever, chances are you're going to get the answer from our town clerk, Dan Amon. And so our upcoming week, May 2nd through May 8th, 2021, the first week in May is celebrated as Municipal Clerks Week every year, and we have a proclamation. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government and exists throughout the world. Whereas in Brighton, the office of town clerk provides the professional link among citizens, local government bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. Whereas municipal clerks pledge to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all and supporting the proper administration of democracy. Whereas this week marks the 50th anniversary of Municipal Clerks Week, celebrated the first week of May each year, and first inspired and promoted by the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, a nonprofit professional organization with members in the United States, in Canada, and in 15 other nations around the world. Whereas in honor of this special week, we are pleased to highlight the excellent work of the Town of Brighton Clerk's Office and pay tribute to our very own town clerk Daniel Lehman, and his team, whose dedication to providing quality services, modernizing records management, and supporting the work of this town council make him a vital partner and an invaluable colleague in Town Hall. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, on behalf of all the members of our Town Council, do hereby proclaim May 2nd through 8th, 2021 as Municipal Clerks Week in the town of Brighton, and proudly recognize Daniel Lehman, Town Clerk and Receiver of Taxes, for his contributions, his many contributions to the smooth functioning of town government. And this proclamation is signed the 28th day of April, 2021. And here is that proclamation. Dan, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, thank you, Supervisor Maley and the board, for recognizing too much me, but I really want to highlight my staff, because really all of any successes that I end up getting credit for really go to them. So thanks to Peggy and Kathy and Lisa and Sandy for all the hard work they put in every day. This last year has been a challenge, to say the least, but I'm pretty bullish on the future and what we've learned from this last year. We had to change a lot of processes, with folks not walking through the doors every day. And I think a lot of those changes are going to stick, frankly. A lot of, streamlining processes for, handicap parking permits and even more. It already moved a lot of dog licensing online, but even more of that is online as well. More steps in that process can be done remotely now. That's going to stick through. And frankly, even the curbside service that we've been doing, keep that going as well. As long as I have somebody that's willing to go outside, depending on the weather, there's no reason that needs to stop, at some point when when things are returning to normal. So, we're just always looking for ways to help serve our residents even better.
Thank you, Dan. Service is absolutely your middle name, your office's middle name. Thank you. And I do want to give, I'm sorry, I meant to do this a moment ago, but Christy, if you'd like to say anything on behalf of your troop or Girl Scouts, we really appreciate all you did. And
I'm not quite prepared to say much, but
that's okay.
Thank you for recognizing the efforts of the girls. I'd like to also acknowledge Matt Beeman was incredibly helpful with helping us. The girls decided they wanted to do something to help with the Brickyard Trail, and he was helpful in identifying a problem that they could work on and helping facilitate all the work. So I'm grateful to him for helping mentor them through this. But they've worked very hard, and the planting last week was really a great celebration of all of the work, and having 2 other troops out there to help with the work was also really wonderful. I think there were almost 20 girls out planting last weekend, and so it was a great effort. It was right in time for Earth Day, and we appreciate all the support of the town and seeing the project through. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, all of you girls that are here in the Zoom and those that may be watching from home. We really appreciate service is clearly what scouting is all about, and you've really given back to your community working together. Thank you. I had the chance actually today, speaking of Matt Beeman, who is our Parks Director, Matt and Dave and Tony were out. And together we were able to plant another tree out in Buckland Park. It was taller than I am, so it's a pretty good sized tree. but we thought we were going to get heavy rain today. We thought it was going to get watered right away, but this is Rochester. It's April. We know it'll get plenty of rain coming forward. So thanks to everybody. And again, for those of you that are watching, Friday, it's Arbor Day. If you get a chance, plant a tree. Okay. We will now begin the open forum. Again, for anybody that would like to join with a question or a comment during the open forum, you're welcome to do so, either by going to the town's web page, to the live stream, and clicking on the Zoom link there, or by placing a telephone call 303-3060. And either way, we will take your question or your comment, and if we can, we'll try to answer it. We'll give people a chance to come in and do that. But while we are, let's move on to at least to the beginning of our business agenda with items of communication. And Chris, can I have a motion to receive and file the communication tonight?
Bill, I think first we should move to.
Oh, let's move to approve the agenda.
The agenda.
Good plan. Good plan.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second, Christine.
Thank you both. See, I told you if that one little typo was the only mistake we made tonight. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. And now can I have a motion to receive and file this item of communication?
So moved. Jason.
Second, Chris.
We do have one item only of communication tonight, but it's an important one. And it's, again, one of those bittersweet ones. Lieutenant Ron Ward from the Brighton Police Department. Lieutenant Ward has been with us, I don't have enough fingers and toes, but I think it's 26 plus years, 25 plus years. So he's been a familiar figure for a long time. He's been an instructor. He has received 4 Excellent Police Service Awards and 1 Distinguished Service Award during his career in Brighton. Those are the kind of people who, serving as police officers, make a difference in their community. And we're going to miss Lieutenant Ward. His last day, he'll be retiring effective May 8th. So we all wish Lieutenant Ward a very, very happy retirement and on to the next chapter in your life. But your service, your commitment to Brighton will always be appreciated. Chief, anything you would like to add about Lieutenant Ward and his work?
When Lieutenant Ward first started, he came here a short time before me, and we worked the night shift together for many years. He's been a valued member of my command staff for quite some time. He's done an awful lot for this department when it comes to his leadership for teaching firearms, defensive tactics, introduced a lot of new technology to this department, which the impact will be felt for years to come. He's done his time as a police officer, and I'm very happy that he'll get to enjoy, hopefully, a happy and healthy retirement.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, can I have a vote, please, Dan, on the motion to accept Lieutenant Ron Ward's retirement letter?
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Thank you. Um, Committee reports, by the way, no one has called in to the open forum. So we will move on with the business portion of the meeting. Our committee reports. And again, although our committees are not currently meeting, our committee chairs have been hard at work addressing issues that would otherwise come before those committees. So we'll start with the committee report from Councilmember Wilt, the chair of the Community Services Committee. Robin.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Mealy. The Community Services Committee was scheduled to meet on April 21st, but due to the restrictions resulting from the pandemic, that meeting was canceled. As you said, I do have some updates from our Parks and Recreation Department heads from our Recreation Department. Summer program registration has begun for Brighton residents. Spaces are filled on a first come, first served basis. So if you need camp this summer, please don't delay. Playground camp registration began on Tuesday, April 13th for residents only. Registration for all other summer programming begins on Tuesday, May 4th. Non-resident registration for all programs begins on Tuesday, May 18th. Our summer camp program is hiring. We're looking for qualified camp directors. For more information, please visit the town website or contact the Recreation Department at 585-784-5260, extension 0. Our Brighton Farmers Market, in lieu of our usual winter market, which was canceled due to COVID, we are offering early season that features an opportunity to procure early crops, storage crops, plants, baked goods, honey, maple products, and so much more. This market is being held outdoors at the Brighton High School parking lot at 1150 Winton Road South. The early season extended from April 11th through this Sunday, May 2nd. The hours are 10 a.m. to noon. The main season of the market will be beginning on Sunday, May 9th, and will extend through Sunday, November 21st. The hours for the main season are 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And again, we continue to prioritize the health and safety of our vendors and customers. Face masks covering nose and mouth must be worn, and social distancing must be maintained since these are large crowd situations. If you have any questions or need anything, looking for lodge availability, updated program offerings, or perhaps something else that I haven't listed, please do call our Recreation Department for more information. That number again is 585-784-5260, extension 0, and any of our staff members would be happy to assist you. You can find our Recreation Department on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Brighton Recreation, or online at www.townofbrighton.org/rec, REC. Upcoming programs of interest are the fishing derby, our running club, tennis, rock climbing, Brighten Up yoga, horse riding, and so much more. And an update from our Parks Department. Winterized facilities were officially opened for the season on April 9th. The department is busy preparing our facilities and fields for spring operation. Seasonal laborers will begin shifts in May. Field supplies are being inventoried, ordered, and delivered. Mowing and refuse contracts are set for the season. We officially reopened lodges with limited occupancy and will be monitoring groups closely for compliance. In the past, groups have blatantly ignored our occupancy mandates, and this is both unfortunate and will not be tolerated. Again, our occupancy requirements are in place to ensure the safety of staff and the broader community. We ask that you please do your part and keep everyone safe. Discussions for our July 4th celebration are ongoing, and a decision will be made very soon about whether we will move forward with the event. Current COVID-19 restrictions greatly impact any outdoor events, so we continue to monitor those updates from state and county health officials. Athletic field requests are at an all-time high, and we're working hard to accommodate those requests. All youth sports groups are being held to the current New York State COVID-19 athletic restrictions. Park and trail continue to be heavily utilized as recreational options. We ask for your forbearance as our park crews respond to the increased maintenance needs. New York State has allowed for higher risk athletics to proceed, so our basketball and volleyball nets have been reinstalled. And of course, we continue to monitor and evaluate our department COVID-19 policies to keep both staff and the community safe as we reopen all of our facilities. An update to our CCA, the news continues to be good on the CCA front. Enrollments continue in our community solar program with Source Power. We have in excess of 1,040 enrollees now. We again encourage all who are eligible to sign up, since our supplier, Source Power, accrues a monetary benefit to the town based on our subscriptions. That benefit can be used towards additional sustainability efforts within our community. And on Earth Day, Source Power presented a check to the community in the amount of $52,000, representing all of the credits for enrollment in our community solar program. The Sustainability Oversight Committee and town staff will be thinking about potential sustainability projects toward which those funds can be applied. And we already mentioned an update to our IDEA board, the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. Last night, in cooperation with the Meadowbrook Neighborhood Association's CORD, or Confronting Our Racist Deeds group, and presenters Janita Anthony and Ed Wilsey, and the Town of Brighton Recreation Department, and the IDEA board, led by Michael Boucher and Manish Dixit, sponsored a community forum that was called Addressing Brighton's History of Redlining and Deed Restrictions. There are approximately 30 people in attendance, and in addition to a presentation by Shane Wiegand of the Community Land Trust and Pathstone Foundation, members of CORD shared their process of disavowing racist covenants within their deeds and hosted a robust community discussion about we as a community and how we can be imperative with regard to our legacy of discriminatory practices. Upcoming events, Brighton's semi-annual electronics recycling and secure document shredding event will be held on Sunday, May 16th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. The location, as always, is Brighton's Highway Department parking lot at 1941 Elmwood Avenue. So bring your old electronic equipment and or your old secure documents that need shredding to Brighton's electronics recycling and secure document shredding event, rain or shine, on Sunday, May 16th. These two events take place at the same time and place. There's no charge for either service. For a list of what electronics are currently being accepted, you can visit http://www.maventech, that's MAVENTech.com/recycling-answers. Our next meeting of the Community Services Committee would have been held on Wednesday, May 19th. That meeting will unfortunately not take place in person. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin. Finance and Administrative Services, Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee would have met on April 20th. However, due to current pandemic restrictions, we are not meeting in person. However, Finance Director Paula Parker did submit to the members of the board a list of action items together with supporting correspondence. And we had the opportunity to raise any questions that we might have had to those items. And of course, each of those items will appear on tonight's town board agenda and will be voted on and discussed in further detail. Our next meeting would have been held on May 4th. However, it also appears that that meeting will be canceled. Hopefully in the near future, we'll be meeting again in person, but unfortunately not in time for our May 4th meeting. Thanks.
Thanks, Jason. Christine, public safety?
Yes, so public safety also has not met in the interim, but we have brief updates here. First of all, Brighton Volunteer Ambulance, we announced this at the last town board meeting, but I'll reiterate it. BVA provides training to the general public and to healthcare professionals. The three upcoming trainings are the Heart Saver CPR AED training for the general public. That's coming up on Monday, May 3rd, from 6 to 9 p.m. for $55. I believe that training is online. The next training coming up is Basic Life Support Healthcare Provider CPR AED training, and that is on Tuesday, May 4th, 6 to 9 p.m. for $50. The next most recent upcoming training is Advanced Cardiac Life Support. That is Thursday, May 20th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the BVA Training Center at 220 Idlewood Road in the Community Center. Tuition for that is $150. Details and registration can be found at brightonambulance.org. Brighton Fire Department, they're keeping in tune with the good weather and all of the sprucing up that folks are doing on their homes these days and yards. Brighton Fire Department reminds folks that their house numbers should be visible from the street. I went outside and checked mine. They are. And our fabulous town clerk, who knows every detail of town code practically by heart, pointed out that Brighton has a detailed town code describing exactly how street numbers should appear, where they should appear, and this enhances safety considerably. If anyone's curious, you can go to the Brighton Town Code section of the town website and look for Chapter 46, Buildings, numbering of, if you would like some extended reading on that. And last, Brighton Police Department this past Saturday hosted in conjunction with the with the Community Services Committee, the pharmaceutical take back. The weather was fabulous for doing a drive-by and drop-off, including several folks on bicycles, making the most of good health and cleaning out their medicine cabinets. And I believe the chief can give us an update on how many drop-offs were made and just how much was hauled away. And I think you may have a few other things that you might want to speak about now or address when those matters come up in the agenda further down.
Yeah, we did. It was almost 250 cars came through, and it was about 770 pounds of product.
Wow.
That's quite a bit. I think for a town our size, there were people literally. It was almost nonstop for the 2 hours that I know the three of us were there. And then the other item on the agenda, I'll speak about when it comes up.
Very good. Thank you very much. If COVID is magically under control by Tuesday, May 11th, we'll be meeting at 8 in the morning in Town Hall. That is not likely. So in the meantime, should members of the community have concerns to be brought to the attention of the Public Safety Committee, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Contact information is available at townofbrighton.org/public safety committee. And that is all.
Thank you, Christine. And Chris Werner, Public Works.
Thanks, Bill. The Public Works Committee meets the first Tuesday of every month, although we have been unable to do so during the pandemic. The next regular meeting would have been May 4th, and I assume we will continue to be restricted in our ability to meet in person. But of course, the Highway Department continues with their spring cleanup. They're on their 4-day work week, 4 10-hour days. And they're doing a bang-up job based on my own neighborhood here, cleaning up the yard debris that's being put out. But again, if you would smaller amounts, put them in containers, and they'll be picked up even faster. The DPW and the police department continue to work with the Monroe County staff to provide the rapid COVID testing by appointment at Temple Birth Kodesh. They have, starting April 13th, they changed the testing days to Tuesday from 12 to 3 o'clock p.m. You can go on the county website at monroecounty.gov to make an appointment starting on Friday before the following week. DPW staff was notified by DASNY that the grant to retrofit our Cobra head streetlights with LED fixtures is proceeding. Once the contract is executed, we'll begin that retrofit. The department continues to backfill positions at the Highway and Sewer Department created by recent retirements. Mike Allen has been selected to assume Tim Jason's role as a senior mechanical equipment operator. Did I get that right, Mike? MEO. His appointment will be discussed by the board later this evening. Additionally, we are currently seeking 2 laborer positions for the highway department and 1 for the sewer department. And we'll begin the interviews in about 2 weeks. The operator, as I said, the operations center staff will be working 10-hour days, Mondays through Thursdays. Also, the department is finalizing the bids on the on various sidewalk projects on French Road and Edgewood to the Canal Trail. They're meeting with the contractor and hope to finalize those bids shortly and get that work going. We continue to look forward to a time when we can actually meet in person and do not expect to be able to meet on the 4th of May, but who knows, maybe June. Bill, what do you think?
Well, I do think my thinking right now, unless something changes, it is important to be able to get together. And right now, yes, I'm targeting June, hopefully, to return to in-person committee meetings, not necessarily full town board meetings, but I do think by June we'll be able to have those committee meetings, but we'll make a formal announcement on that shortly.
Good, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all of our committees. And we'll move on then. We have no old business. We'll move on to new business, starting with the reading and approval of claims. Jason.
Yes, Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $648,255.20. Notable claims include to Baker and Taylor in the amount of $14,281.05 for the purchase of adult and children's books and materials for the Brighton Memorial Library. Also to BLM Construction Company in the amount of $40,920.61 for payment for Phase 2 Farmers Market renovation services per contract. Also to the Depository Trust Company, the amount of $17,043.75 for semi-annual interest payment on the 2018 Parkland Acquisition Serial Bonds. Also to M&T Bank in the amount of $13,210, representing the annual principal payment for the Western Drive Sewer Serial Bonds, and that's payment 16 out of 20, so we're getting there. And finally, to Van Bortle Ford in the amount of $116,972.40 for the purchase of 3 hybrid Ford Interceptor Explorers as per the approved capital improvement plan. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Chief, do you know, are any of the other police agencies in the area also purchasing hybrid or electric vehicles?
Not at the pace we are. Quite frankly, we're outpacing them. I do know that there were some other town police departments that tried hybrids. The 2020s were experiencing a few technical difficulties. So these 2021s, I'm hoping all the kinks are worked out. But our fleet is going to be, we're well on our way to being all hybrid within probably a couple of years.
It's great.
if not sooner.
It's a great response.
Yep.
Thanks for, again, taking that leadership role. Any other questions or comments on the claims? We have a motion seconded to approve those claims. If there are no further comments, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Christine.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize a budget transfer in the amount of $9,000 from the police department forfeited property account to the contracted services account to implement a community engagement platform. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second?
Chris.
Chris, thank you. Chief, do you want to talk about this? This is great
Sure. So
information.
I think there were a couple key takeaways, more than that actually, from the RIT survey that we did. It was, as you know, the first community survey that we've done in 20 to 25 years. And some of the feedback from that survey, two things really stuck out to me. There were a lot of comments that said, I don't know how the Brighton police are doing with handling mental health calls or whatever type of call for service. And in doing a community survey, blasting it out town-wide and actually county-wide, as far as we could get it, maybe people were filling out the survey that didn't necessarily have interactions with the Brighton police. So this company, QHIT, they've developed a platform. They'll provide us with QR codes for our business cards that officers hand out to crime victims or people whom we interact with. And that QR code, you simply are going to be able to open up your mobile phone, simply hold it over the QR code, and it'll be a brief survey about your interaction. The other takeaway that from the survey was there were sometimes either a lack of follow through or there was miscommunication between an officer, investigator, and someone whom we interacted with when it came to a crime or other incident. So this platform will help create tasks for me. And those tasks will be able to be directed via that QR code, either back to myself or to an investigator or to a member of my command staff. So again, instead of doing a community survey every 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I'll be able to get ongoing continual feedback from those people and those in the community and beyond whom we interact with. And I think this will go part and parcel with the Executive Order 203 plan. The QHIT company will be able to provide a dashboard for me that I may be able to I'll work out the specific details. Maybe we'll be able to link to the Town of Brighton's website, so you'll be able to click on that in the community and the officer. I think it's important for the officers as well to know the feedback they're getting from the community, because oftentimes we interact with people and we may not know if we did a good job or maybe we need to improve. And also that feedback can come to me directly, and I'd be able to head off any problem before it comes bigger. Also, this is seized assets. They initially offered a 2-year pilot program. I was able to talk them into a 3-year pilot program, so it'll be $3,000 a year. As you know, Mr. Supervisor, I attended a conference last week with police chiefs from around the country. And when I was talking about this program, and I'm talking bigger agencies, 300, 400, 500 person agencies, and they thought it was a great idea. The city of Albany just went with this company. I know we'll be the first one here in Monroe County to go to this program. And at the end of 3 years, we'll be able to determine whether or not it's a valuable program and we can continue with it out of our normal operating expenses, or we'll be able to end the program. But I really think it'll be a good program for us, and it's budget neutral to the town.
Very exciting. I have one question for you. Will community members be able to provide feedback anonymously if they are uncomfortable sharing personal details, but still want to deliver valid feedback?
Well, yeah, and really what this is just one more avenue to provide feedback. My name's on the website, and it's compliment or complaint, and you can email me, and those complaints come directly to me. I don't necessarily share feedback to officers if it's a complaint. All of this data is going to be anonymized to QHIT. They won't be collecting any of this data. I've seen a little bit of it, but we're not going to be collecting data and tracking who the citizen is necessarily that compliments or complains against an officer unless it takes further investigation, unless I need to reach back to these people to have further conversations. But I can look further into the anonymity, if I said that correctly, when it comes to me. But again, when we hand out business cards, we put a complaint report number on it, so that's identifiable to people as well.
All right, thank you.
And further, the attorney to the town is helping me with the contract. He's been reviewing it, and we're making sure some of the language is it gets codified correctly to where we can get out of this contract if in terms of service, if it's they don't live up to their end of the bargain.
Thank you, Chief. It's, we talk about it a lot whenever we do these significant plans, our comprehensive plans, for example. The mantra is, and we mean it, we don't want our plans to just sit on a shelf. It's great to put a plan together, but what you really have to do is implement it. And these plans were submitted by April 1st. And I know this is just the first of a number of steps you're taking to begin implementing some of the things that were developed through the course of the plan preparation. So thank you for that. Further comments on this matter? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Robin, I'll have you do the next one.
Thank you,
With
Bill.
our thanks in advance.
Sorry. The next matter seeks to accept a donation from Robin and Nicholas Wilt in the amount of $1,000 to support the town's electronics recycling and document shredding event. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Jason.
And again, thank you for not only your time support, but your financial support of this great event. Any further comments, and share that with Nick as well, of course. If there's no further discussion, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye.
And thank you, Robin and Nick. Awfully generous.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
Robin, why don't I have you do the next one as well?
Certainly. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to issue a request for proposals to update the town's cultural resources surveys. I move that we adopt the resolution as heard by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
This relates to work that the Historic Preservation Commission is planning on doing, or at least considering doing. Ken, anything is in your role as one of the many boards you handle as town attorney? Anything you want to add to the request?
This is an annual request and is in line with the adopted budget. So each year, the Historic Preservation Commission tries to move forward its agenda of designating appropriate properties as landmarks within the town of Brighton to preserve them for the future. And so before that can occur, there needs to be a detailed report prepared as to the historic value of each property. And there is some money in the budget to allow the board to do that. And they've picked a few properties, at least one property to survey in the first instance, and a couple to update surveys that were done some time ago because they're considering moving forward now with designating those additional properties. And I will just point out the resolution that I did draft actually authorizes the Department of Public Works to issue that RFP rather than the town supervisor. I know the agenda says supervisor, but the resolution actually authorizes the Department of Public Works, and Ramsey Boehner of our Department of Public Works generally handles those matters.
Thanks, Ken. Further discussion on this matter? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris?
Next item, Bill, is to amend the budget of the Highway Department to reflect the receipt of a total of $151,498 in the 2021 to 2022 New York State CHIPS Extreme Winter Recovery and Pave New York funding. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I
Second, Robin.
Thanks, Robin. The state budget process every year is a challenge. And when this year's budget started out, we thought we were going to actually potentially receive less in highway funding, CHIPS funding, the winter recovery funding, and Pave New York funding. We thought some of those programs were either going to be cut or eliminated. But in fact, when the budget finally was approved, and I think we can certainly give credit in part to our two new representatives, Senator Jeremy Cooney and Assemblymember Sarah Clark, both of whom supported these changes to make sure that there would be adequate funding for town highway work. So we did receive additional funding through the budget and through the state budget. Now we have to amend our budget to reflect that additional money.
And just to clarify, Supervisor and Commissioner Guyon, I appreciate your input on this as well. This resolution actually is to approve the acceptance of an additional amount of money. So this money that is recited in the resolution in the amount of $151,498 is the additional money on top of what we had already budgeted. That's not the total amount of money we're receiving. I don't have the figure in mind. I bet you Mike might, if you want to hear that figure as to what the total amount of Paula, one of the two of them.
It's the total amount for all three of the funds, about $396,000.
So as you can see, this was a very significant enhancement. Mike and I talked a little bit today about what additional work might be able to be done with this additional funding, and that's a process that's ongoing in the highway department now, but it will enable us to do more work, subject to the challenges of the fact that everybody has more funding. Everybody is going to be looking for those same paving contractors and concrete and everything else. So hopefully we'll be able to put that money to good use. We know, but it may be challenging finding resources and finding them at a price that hasn't gone up significantly. But in any event, I know Mike will do everything that he can to make sure we can get as much done as we can, as effectively as we can. Further comment, further discussion? Hearing none. Dan, would you call the roll on that motion?
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. And Chris, I'll have you do the next one as well.
Yes, Bill. The next is to set a public hearing regarding the establishment of Extension 106 to the Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin. Sorry.
Mike, any comment on this one?
Yeah, I'll try to be brief. I've been working with Mr. Coffey for a number of years. He's always been contemplating putting in public sewers to serve his property. So he owns a single property down there with a residence on it, and he also owns sorry about that, guys. He also owns 3 parcels without, that are vacant parcels. So he wants to bring them all into the district. When we did the Willard or the Pinnacle Hill subdivision, we provided easements that would allow him to make those connections. So I was very fortunate. So he'll be putting in it's a sort of a unique type system, a low pressure pump system. The town will actually own the force main to that system. By the town owning the force main, it'll allow other residents along Midland to connect to that force main and also use a low pressure pump. We're just asking for the public hearing to be set at this time. The capital costs for that project will all be paid for by the applicant, Mr. Coffey. Once he connects to the sewer, he'll be responsible to pay the town and the county's operation and maintenance fees. So it's a good project. Looking forward to get it done.
Thanks, Mike. Further questions, comments? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll on the motion.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Christine?
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to issue a request for proposals for fire protection services for the West Brighton Fire Protection District. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Can I have a second?
Second, Jason.
This is an RFP that our town attorney has prepared, working with Mike Guyon, also I believe with Chris Raw, other fire departments that this will be delivered to are aware of this, and we're looking forward to their proposals for fire service in the western part of the town. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Jason?
Yes, the next matter seeks to accept a donation from Source Power Company in the amount of $52,000 to support sustainable projects. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
And again, this is the donation that Robin referenced in her community services report. The funds under contract with Source Power for customers that sign up for their community solar program. It's been very successful so far, and we do look forward to working with our SOC to identify a project or projects that we can put this money to good, sustainable use for. We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. On the last item of new business, Chris.
Bill, this was the item I mentioned in the report from the department, is to approve the promotion of Mike Allen to Senior Motor Equipment Operator, MEO, in accordance with the resolution before us, which I move we accept.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Jason.
Mike, anything you want to say?
Not a lot, Bill. We interviewed 3 folks internally. Mike was the most qualified candidate. He's a pleasure to work with. He's very He's a career-minded individual, and he's going to be exceptional.
Great. Thank you. Further discussion, questions? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Manley.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, we will receive and file the March 2021 expense and revenue report. Even though it's the end of a quarter, we're not going to have a report. Am I right on that, Paula?
If you want one, I am prepared to give you one.
That's fine. Then we'll do it. I wasn't sure whether we were or whether it was going to be because of the audit coming up, but go ahead. That would be.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. So I'm going to kind of run through this stuff rather quickly. It's the first quarter of the year. It is rather unremarkable, as is usual, because we have a lot of items in January into early February that belong to the previous fiscal year. So this first quarter tends to be within budget, and there usually isn't anything big that happens. I just want to go over the budget for everybody, and I am going to read from my notes here. This year, again, we're speaking about the general fund, the highway fund, the library fund, and the debt service fund. And that provided for 26.4 million in net appropriations. We collected 15.7 million, just above, in levied taxes. We utilized 1,834,000 of appropriated fund balance and reserves. The remaining 8,800,000 is all other revenues. So starting with our revenues, we've got 54%. Again, I'm talking about that 8.8 million. 54% of that is revenue consisting of sales tax. Everybody's going to recall we did reduce sales tax for 21, again, because of the pandemic, because of the losses that we were hearing about in 2020. We decided in putting our budget together for 21, it would be appropriate for us to lower those down to 3.8 million. We have not received any payments yet. Middle of May is when we'll receive our first sales tax payment. So when we do the June report, we can take a look at how that is. Although we did have a spot of good news. I believe the sales tax for Monroe County was up about a little over 2% for the first quarter this year as compared to the first quarter in 2020. So that's a spot of good news. The mortgage tax, we did increase slightly. We're at 945,000 or 10% of that piece of revenue. Again, we aren't going to receive any of those funds until June. So hopefully at the end of June, we can take a look at that. From what I understand though, the housing market is hot, hot, hot. We've had sales. Hopefully we'll get a more mortgage tax than we bargained for, which would be wonderful. The remaining amount of revenues is about 4.1 million, and that's comprised of departmental income, intergovernmental charges, state aid, pilots, property tax interest, and interest income are the largest categories. And again, just a teeny tiny spot of good news is that we're running just a little bit ahead of where we were last year. I think last year, we were around overall 24%. And remember, we're at 25% through the first part of the year. And this year, when we looked at it, when I ran the reports, we're about 37%. We've seen some increases in our recreation revenue. That's because our programs are opening up. We're going to be doing our summer programs, camps, and of course, the lodges are being rented. Again, when we come back to June and I look at the first 6 months of each of those 2 years, we may see that dip a little bit because we had a lot of refunds that we did back in 2020. We've also done some in 2021. So it'll be interesting to see how we fare on that front. The pilot receipts, we of course have collected 100% of those, and license and permits are strong at 27% this year. Interest income, we did decrease quite a bit for the 21 fiscal year, and we've received 21%. So we're lagging just a little bit behind there. When we take a look at the expenditures, we're performing very well. So of the 26 million, 20 million of that comprises our wages and our fringe benefits for our active and retirees. So that's $20 million for those things. When we look at the salaries, we're always in budget with salaries. A benchmark again at 25%, we are running at 21%. Again, some of that is because of the decrease in programs, which this will pick up as we move forward and all of our programs are back running. Overtime, we always talk a little bit about overtime. Our overtime is running very well this year. Our police department is well below budget. They've spent about 40,000 of 195,000, 20% there. Highway has spent 56% of their 219,000, coming in at 122,000. And I think we can thank the wonderfully lovely winter that we've had this year with not a lot of snow. So that's showing up in our numbers. When we look at the benefits, of course, when you look at Social Security and Medicare, those numbers will reflect, again, us running very well in salaries. And the health insurance and retiree, New York State retirement benefit makes up the bulk of the benefits part of that. So the budget for our employee and retiree benefits for those items, it's almost $7 million. It's 6.9 million, of which 3.2 million is medical premium insurance for active and retired employees. The rest of that is going to be for our New York State retirement. As of the first quarter, we are running right on target with our health insurance at 33%. Again, we've paid through April. We've always got to pay that medical insurance a month ahead. Seems the insurance companies like their money, you know, at the beginning of the month rather at the end. So we're running dead right where we should be. And our New York State retirement is running just a little bit below. And that's because the fourth quarter payment for last year, we actually pushed into the first quarter of the new year because of how the state fiscal runs. Our state fiscal year runs from April 1 to March 31. So the payment we make in December goes through that March 31 date. So that amount was a little bit lower last year. So we're running about 21% instead of the 25% under budget. And the rest of our expenses, we look at things like equipment, materials and supplies, contractual services, insurances, and debt service and utilities. So looking at the capital outlays, we've got about 700,000 budgeted for capital purchases this year. We've only spent about 6% of that budget. However, we've encumbered another 55%. So again, we've got our purchase orders in place. Our departments are getting their purchases made. And so we've got a large number spoken for, promised. However, we're running very favorable of the actual expenditures. Supplies and material and contractual services, again, we've spent 15.5 of that budget, which is about 4.5 million. However, we've encumbered or put on purchase orders about 63%. So again, if you know a contract, if you know what you're going to buy for materials, we know what we want to buy for fuel. We know all those budgeted numbers. So the departments will go in, put those purchase orders in, and that money is put aside for those purchases. That prevents us from spending money twice, which is always a good thing because we really don't want to spend it twice, although I'd like to figure out a way someday. Our utilities are running this year at 25%. I'm sorry, excuse me, 23% of our benchmark of 25%. Again, our building, was closed for most of the winter, and I realized staff was there, but I think we saw a little bit of savings there but it's early in the year yet. We've got summer coming up, and then we get hit pretty good for the winter months, should we have a lot of cold weather in November and December. We've spent 35% of our insurance, which is exactly where we should be because we've now paid through June of this year. We're actually running a little bit better, and that's because of our new contract that we did last year at the end of 2020. When we did the new workers' comp contract, it saved us about, I think it was $11,000 annually for the 2 years that we did the contract. So again, we put our budget together and adopted at the end of October. We didn't do this new reduced contract until December for January 1 of 21. So we're seeing that benefit in those numbers. The balance of our appropriations are made up of debt service, and that's up a little bit this year. Total debt service is at $1,148,000 as compared to $981,000 last year. And again, we've been doing some borrowing. We're buying equipment, doing the things, we've done some roads. The past couple of years, we've bonded that. So we're seeing the principal and interest eke up. It's at 4.3% of our budget, where traditionally it's been around 3.8. Again, those numbers are always on schedule because we budget the payments to the penny in the budget. So in summary and conclusion, again, it's a good first quarter, uneventful. Purchases look good, expenses and revenues are okay, and we're going to keep our eye on it and see what the second quarter brings. And I was glad to actually be able to amend the budget to increase it by the $151,000 because that's what we like to do. We love to bump it up. We hate to take it down.
At least the revenue side, we love to bump.
Well, you got it.
Those revenues in.
Good. Yeah.
Thanks, Paula. Thanks for that very thorough update. Does anybody have any questions? A lot of material there. But again, in a nutshell, we're at or ahead of where we would like to be for almost all of our major revenue and expense lines, which is a good thing. These COVID times, it's hard to get a handle on where things are going to be, but you've continued, Suzanne, your department continue to do a great job of managing the town's finances, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Then can I have a motion to receive and file the March 21 expense and revenue report?
So moved.
Second, Robin.
Robin.
Discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Matters of the town attorney. Ken.
I have a few matters of litigation that I'd like to review with the board in executive session, but other than that, I have no other report this evening.
And I think a real estate related matter too that we can give an update on.
It's a real estate matter that also arises out of litigation. Yes.
True. Thanks. Matters of the town clerk.
Just a reminder for those who are still paying the installments for the town and county taxes, Friday is the due date for the 4th installment. We continue collecting through the end of May, but the interest goes up on Monday. So make sure that if you're still out there working on it, get them in or call if you have any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Matters of the town board.
Nothing further.
Then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss, shall we just call it matters of litigation, Ken? Okay.
So moved.
Second, Christine.
Dan, please call the roll.
Sorry, who was motioned?
Chris moved and Christine seconded.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. I do not anticipate coming back into open session after the executive session, so I want to thank everybody, particularly our Girl Scouts who joined us this evening, but everybody that was here, our next meeting will be held on Wednesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. It will again be held remotely, and we will see you all then. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you. Stay safe.